my name is Marley and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a tag video with you guys. I was tagged by Nerdy Nat Reads to do the school days book tag. And I'll link her below and I'll link the original creator of the tag as well. Basically this is a tag surrounding school and like the different times of day during school and subjects that you learn at school. She tagged me I think a few months ago, but I feel like now is kind of a good time as school will be starting up for kids, I think in a couple weeks. I don't know anyone in elementary school anymore, so it's very hard for me to like keep in touch with what goes on in the school system. But yeah, let's just hop into the questions and the answers. So the first set of questions is about the times of day, and the first question is for The First Bell. Talk about a book that got you into reading, which I feel like I probably have already talked about this before, as it's kind of a common question in tags. I can't even remember a lot of the books I read when I was young. I would pretty much read whatever I could get my hands on, but the series I remember getting super invested in, where I was constantly borrowing the books from the library and just getting really obsessed with the world, was of course the series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. Not a super unique answer. I was just obsessed with the books. I feel like they would always end on a cliffhanger. There was always this sort of like thrilling aspect to it. They're kind of like children's thrillers in a way, because there's just always such like depressing, dangerous things happening for these kids. I realized lately that I like bittersweet endings instead of happy endings, and I feel like that came from my love of like these books where it was just always like sad things happening, and those bittersweet endings, if you know, you know. If you've read it, you know how it ends. But then I have a little like side answer to that, and that's my love of like YA books and fantasy was of course due to Miss Stephanie Meyer with the Twilight Saga, and this sort of just amped up my reading to a whole other level and introduced me to this whole new genre of like fantasy books. I don't even know if I read any fantasy books before then. And then another series I was just sort of reflecting on that I feel was more of my introduction to mystery thrillers was the Dark Secret series by Elizabeth Chandler. They were like the original YA thriller mysteries that I read, and I remember just loving them and like staying up super late to finish them. So I feel like that is what kind of got me into like the thriller stuff. The next question is break time. Which book did you most recently have to take a break from or DNF? So my answer for this would probably be the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. It really was my plan starting last year to binge that entire series, and I found myself having to take breaks or wanting to take breaks from that series. I have 2 books left and I hope to get back into it this month, but I just feel like I constantly like need a break after each book or even partway through the books. Another series I had like this was the 50 Shades of Grey series when I read it like way back in the day, because those books were just so repetitive in nature, if you know what I mean. So I just couldn't like read those back to back. As for DNFing, I do not DNF very much. I think I just always pick up books that I've heard good things about and I know are going to be good. So I think the only book I've DNF'd this year was Don't Read the Comments by Eric Smith, I want to say his name is. I started reading this at a time where I was having some health issues, so that didn't help, but also the book was just not for me. It was so focused on video games, which I thought would be kind of fun. I'm not a gamer, but I was like, it could be cool to read about this world. At the end of the day, that's still kind of like a fandom thing, video games, and I obviously know about fandoms, but it was just not the same. Like, I don't want to read about literally people just playing video games and what's happening on the game. That's like not what I want to do. So that's the only book I think that I DNF'd this year. Lunchtime, tell us about your favorite book that features food. And this is probably like the hardest question to answer on this tag. I just like don't really remember what books featured a lot of food. I haven't really read books that focus on that, but like my go-to thing I thought of was like Turkish Delight from Narnia, from the Chronicles of Narnia. Again, this is kind of like a throwback series everyone knows and probably most people have read, but I feel like that's just such an iconic thing, is Edmund Pevensey requesting Turkish Delight from the White Witch. So That's a series that I really love, and again was sort of the beginning of my experience with reading fantasy books. Final Bell, which book did you most recently finish? I'm actually gonna stop being lazy and actually pull out the book, and that's Any Way the Wind Blows by Rainbow Rowell, which I feel like I've brought up in multiple videos now, so I hate that this is the one I most recently finished that I have to talk about again. But if you don't know, it's the third book in the Carry On series, which is about Simon Snow, who is the most famous mage. He's the chosen one, and then Baz, his roommate that he hates, and they are sort of enemies turned to lovers, truly enemies that are trying to kill each other turned to lovers. So it's like a romantic fantasy story. I didn't love everything about this book. I felt like some things were drawn out. I didn't like that some of the characters were separated, and I did think some of the makeout scenes were a little bit questionable. But overall, I did really enjoy this book. You can see what I rate it on my Goodreads. Check it out down below, add me. But yeah, at the end of the day, I do think this series is super cute, super fun, but definitely like YA, definitely more of like a younger audience. Then maybe I'll just do a little sneak peek of what I'm currently reading, and that is Lore by Alexander Bracken. And spoiler alert for an upcoming vlog, I'm really enjoying this book. It's based in Greek mythology, it's fantasy mixed with like action and almost like a Hunger Games competition component to it. Something really crazy just happened at the last section I read, so I'm dying to keep reading because I'm kind of upset about it. Homework, what was the last nonfiction book you read and enjoyed? Guys, I literally do not read nonfiction books. Like I just don't, and I feel like that's so embarrassing maybe, but that's just not what I'm drawn to read. So I don't even know how to answer this. I know for a fact I've not read any nonfiction books in the last 2 years, and probably longer than that. Some that I know I've read and that I own on my other bookshelf is Mindy Kaling's like memoirs. I have both of her memoirs, and I enjoy that. I really like her humor, and I do like hearing about the behind the scenes of the entertainment industry. And then I know I also read Anna Kendrick's memoir, kind of random, but I mean, I liked her in Pitch Perfect. It was during that time. And again, it was interesting to hear about her story and like her background in Broadway, and then how like Twilight was the only thing that like got her by for many years, as she was just like a side character in those movies until her career really blew up. So I do like reading celebrity memoirs. Unfortunately, I am kind of getting less into celebrities and following their lives. I don't know if it's just like oversaturation from social media, like they're just so accessible that I just feel like I don't really care as much as I used to. So those would be like the only nonfiction books I really read. And then Staff Room, tell us about a book you go to when you feel like you need to take a break. I feel like if I need to take a break, I would just not read. Would be like my way to like take a break from reading. Oh, sorry, it's take a breath and not take a break. Yeah, I would probably like not read, and I would maybe like watch a TV show or watch YouTube. But normally I just read all the time still. But maybe my only other answer to that would be like maybe a contemporary book. I feel like those are just like more lighthearted. They can be kind of hard-hitting, but sometimes they're more lighthearted. They don't take as much thinking and concentration because you're not trying to solve a mystery or you're not trying to understand this new world. They're normally shorter as well, so you don't have to invest as much time. So I'd probably just say like contemporary books. Then we get into the school subject questions, which you're just supposed to pick which questions speak to you. Originally, I was just gonna answer questions for like the subjects I like or that I would want to take, but then I didn't actually quite do that. I just answered the questions that I felt like answering. So the first one is for English. So tell us about a book that you studied for school and recommend one that you think should be added to the curriculum. So I actually had the pleasure of studying the Hunger Games in school during my grade 12 English class. That's one I definitely think was a good idea to add to the curriculum. For one thing, it's like super popular with young people, obviously, and I think it would still hold up now. So it's very fun. It's gonna like get people excited to read, but then also it does deal with so many themes that are worthy of studying in an English class, such as media and like the media's influence on us, right? With like broadcasting the games and all of like the fakeness and extravagance behind it, which we literally see in reality TV all the time now. It's like super relevant, along with like obviously a lot of other things. So that was something that was fun to study. Something that I would recommend, again, I struggled with this a little bit, but I kind of just thought of like maybe The Perks of Being a Wallflower, because that's another classic YA book that I just immediately think of. It's been a while since I read it, but I know it had a big impact on me as a teen and a lot of other teens as well. And I think it's a good idea to have more stories that are like relatable to teens instead of just like The Great Gatsby or something like that, like something that's actually about other teenagers. I think would help people in the classroom feel seen, you know? Then we have math. How do you rate your books? So I feel like I'm a very easy rater, not a very critical reader, I feel. Except for giving 5 stars, I've tried to be a little bit more scarce with that. I feel like I only give 5 if it is for sure a favorite and I absolutely loved my reading experience. I will even give 5s if I notice some flaws, but if I just loved reading it so much, then I give out a lot of 4s. I feel like that's almost like my average rating, because if I like it, I'll just give it a 4. Then I would say 3 is more of like average or like decent. I feel a little bit averagely about it. 2 is like I didn't really like, it was a struggle to get through. And then I feel like 1 would be a DNF. I have never just straight up given a book a 1, because I feel like if it was on that route to being a 1, I would just DNF it, is kind of how I think. So that's how I rate. Science. Which book couple do you think has the best chemistry? And there's a lot. Like, there's even a lot of favorite book couples of mine that it's been so long I can't even remember to say, but I'm just gonna say one of them that I know holds up, and that is Percy and Annabeth from the Percy Jackson series. I mean, they're just so classic. Like, they're everything that I love about a ship. I really like that they're friends first, as they do start out as like children, so obviously they start out as friends, just developing that nice foundation, that trust and like friendship, love. And then I love when there's like nicknames involved in ships. It just feels so cute. Like if you're the only one that calls that person a nickname, like she calls him Seaweed Brain. I love that. And then yeah, I love that they're kind of like a bantery couple, not enemies to lovers, but like they have that kind of like banter, fighting, not getting along all the time as well, which is great, builds that tension. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. They're just really cute. Then we have PE, or physical education, and that is to show us the biggest book that you have on your TBR. So I went on Goodreads and I sorted to see in my want to read what was the biggest book, the longest book. And it was Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J Maas. It's a little dusty. I think this is nearly 1,000 pages. I guess I don't have that many long books on my TBR, because I think there's books that are like over 1,000 pages, but I'm not really interested in those. But this is like almost like 984 is what I'm seeing here, or that's the acknowledgements. So 980. Oh God, that's gonna be rough. But yeah, it's something I already mentioned that I want to, or that I am reading this series. So this is the biggest. Then we have drama class, which is one I would definitely not take. I also would not take PE unless I had to. I do not like physical activity, and I do not like performing in front of others. So for drama, the question is, what book do you think has the best ending? I struggled with this one a little bit too, but the ending that stuck with me, it is a pretty hyped book right now, so I'm not really saying anything new, but I really adored Verity by Colleen Hoover, which I'm sure most people know. It's a thriller, and it has to do with this author who takes over writing the book for this other author named Verity when she gets into this life-threatening accident and she can no longer write. There's like mysterious things going on. Like it seems like Verity might just be faking her injuries. She might actually be like an evil person. I can't even explain. But yeah, the ending of Verity, first of all, it kept me on like the edge of my seat the entire time reading it. It's really good, like build up of tension and mystery and everything. It's scary. Like I remember walking home from the subway one day, it wasn't even that dark, but I was just like, I'm scared. But the ending is one of those like ambiguous ones, which some people might not like, and it can be very frustrating, but I kind of live for it. It's very common in thriller movies or horror movies, and I just think it's that final thing at the end of the movie or book that's like, oh snap, that was good. So this book definitely has that like final twist at the end, and you can just kind of make up your mind of what you think the truth is. So I love that kind of ending, like having to look up what it means, like in movies when you're like, wait, what did that mean? And there's like discussion around it. I feel like those are good endings. So then there's art. Show us 3 books that you think have the best covers. So many books have really beautiful covers. One that I'm gonna grab is this Shiver series by Maggie Stiefvater. Maybe it's not anything super special, but I just remember loving this cover when I was young. I feel like it's so pretty. It has all of the like icy branches and like the one drop of blood, and then we have like the little wolf here. I feel like this whole series is really pretty. Like there's Linger, and I like when obviously the covers match really nicely. Forever. This one's pretty, the color. Oh, this one doesn't match. This is a little bit different than the other ones. Interesting. Some other covers I really like are Alice Oseman's books and like their whole aesthetic. Like I only own Loveless, and this is actually the only book I've read except for Heartstopper. But I like how all of her books, I think these are the UK edition or something, they all have this same sort of style of like these really cute, almost like pastel-y colors, and then the same design that I believe Alice draws. She's an artist as well, and just like all the different colors. I feel like that would look so aesthetically pleasing on your shelf if I had the rest of them. I know Katie Can't Read, who I follow here on BookTube, has that, and I feel like it's so cute. But yeah, even just like looking at this one, like this pink color is really cute, and the illustration's nice. I just really like these books, and I kind of want the rest of them. And the other series that I like, or standalone soon-to-be series, are the Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe books, and then the second one that's coming out later this year. Especially the second one, I think has a really, really pretty cover. The first one also is nice and has like a nice aesthetic for the story, but yeah, I think these ones are pretty beautiful as well. And those are the subjects I am going to answer today. Hopefully you guys liked this video. I will tag 21 readers to do this tag, someone that I have recently been watching, and then I'll also tag Books with Bridget, who recently made her return to BookTube, and anyone else who wants to do this as well as we approach the new school year. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know, what's your rating system for the math prompt? I'm interested. And I hope you will subscribe. Check out my Book Talk account. It's new. I have a few up there. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.